Daf Chof Aleph Amud Aleph at the very top of the page. Says the Gemara, V'harei Tefillah. What about Tefillah? The Dovar Shatzibur Eiskim Bay. That's something that everyone's doing. V'tanan, and it says in the Mishnah, Hayayim B'Tefillah, if a person's davening, V'niskashu Ba'kari, and then he remembers that he is Tomei, he had a discharge, Tumadik, a discharge, Lo Yafsik, he shouldn't stop davening, Ella Ikatzer. He should cut it short. Finish davening quickly. So the Gemorah's Medayik time to ask, the reason why he should finish davening is because he started. Lo Yaschel, if he didn't start, Lo Yaschel, don't start. In other words, if he's Tomei, don't daven. But if he started, he should cut it short. So therefore what? So the question is why weren't they misaken to do hirur? We said now in the Mishnah till now that if he's Tomei, he should say Krishma b'hirur. So why shouldn't this guy say Tefillah b'hirur? That's the Gemara's question. What's the difference? By Krishma we say, think about it. Think about Krishma, Yeyetza. By Tefillah we don't say think about it, we say cut it short. And if you didn't start, don't start. Why not? Daven b'hirur. Plenty of people daven b'hirur anyway. You're not supposed to say the words, right? Says the Gemara, Shani Tefillah. Tefillah is different from Krishma. Why? The Lespa Malchus Shemayim. Tefillah does not have Malchus Shemayim. We're not Makabal Ol Malchus Shemayim. Krishma, you're Makabal Ol Malchus Shemayim, so you think about it, that's good. But Tefillah, since you're not Makabal, the yoke of heaven, there's no point in doing it, Baal Peh. So the Gemara says, so let's take a look actually in Rashi, what does this mean? It's very, very important Rashi. Last wide line in Rashi, Shari Tefillah, the Leis of Malchus Shemayim, Kabbalos Malchus Shemayim. In other words, in Kriyashma, you accept the yoke of heaven. Kedisa b'Kriyashma, Shemekabel Olav es Hashem, you accept upon yourself, in Kriyashma, you're accepting upon yourself Hashem as La'odon, your master, V'lemelech, and as the king. V'lemelech miyuchad, the only king. So that's what Malchus Shemayim is. But that's what we say. When you say Krishma, you Makabal Ol Malchus Shemayim, what does it mean? When you say Krishma, is you accepting Hashem as your king, as your master, as the king of the world. Interesting, because the Bali Muslims say, when you Makabal Krishma, you say he's the master of the world, the four corners of the world, up and down, four corners. You forget one thing, that he's also your king, he's also my king. That's the most important part of it. You Makabal Ol Malchus Shemayim, I'm his servant, he's my king. Now, take a look at the top line in Rashi actually. The Leis Malchus Shemayim. Why does Tefillah not have Malchus Shemayim? So Rashi says, Ein Melech Ha'olam b'Birchas Yivches. You don't say in Shemayim Esra, Elokeinu Melech Ha'olam. Now, all the other brachas, you have to say Brachat Hashem, Elokeinu Melech Ha'olam. Any bracha, you don't say Melech Ha'olam, he's the king of the world, is not a bracha. But in Shemayim Esra, you don't say Melech Ha'olam. Everything's Brachat Hashem, Magen Avram. Brachat Hashem, I don't know what, Mechayim Mesi. You don't say Brachat Hashem, Melech Ha'olam. So you don't mention the fact he's the king of the world, Ishman Esra. So it's less than Shema, that there's no point therefore of doing it in Baal Peh for whatever reason. So Samam Madaik, what does it mean? He says Melech Ha'olam. The Deacon Rashi is you don't say he's Melech Ha'olam. Now there is Malchus, Ishman Esra. He's the Melech. What's the Malchus? So Taisa says that saying Elokei Avram, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, that they will makabel him as the Melech. But that doesn't mean he's the Melech Ha'olam, he's the king of the world. He's their king. So, but Shema, you Makabel, he's the Melech Ha'olam. And the other brachas you're saying Melech Ha'olam, that's the difference. So it says the Gemara. The Gemara asks now, V'harei Birchas HaMazon. What are you going to say about Birchas HaMazon? When you bench, right? So, right, Birchas HaMazon is the Achra of the Leis Malchus Shemayim. When you bench, you don't say Malchus Shemayim either. V'tzanan, and it says, as far as Birchas HaMazon goes, Mevarach la'achrav, ve'ein mevarach lefanav. When you eat bread, you should bench afterwards, but you don't make a bracha before. And this guy's tumah, he's got tumas carry. He should bench, but he shouldn't say bracha, amitz lechem and aretz. And we're talking about behirur here, right? He's mevarach behirur. He's tamei. He can't say a bracha. He can't bench. He should be benched behirur. So why? And there, by benching, there's no Melech Ha'olam, there's no Ol Malchus Shemayim in benching. So what's the difference between benching and tefillah? Why by benching do you say about maharer? And by tefillah, you're not maharer. That's the Gemara's kasha, right? Gemara answers, El Krishma Birchas Hamazon Doraisa. It's not because of Malchus Shemayim. That can't be. The reason is because Krishma and Birchas Hamazon is Doraisa. That's why you have to be maharer. The tefillah is Darbanan. Davening is only Darbanan. That's why you're not maharer and tefillah. Birchas Hamazon and Krishma, you got to be yeshivs, Doraisa. Be maharer. But tefillah is Darbanan, and therefore you shouldn't do it. Therefore you're not maharer. Make sense? Big kasha is on the Rambam. The Rambam, as we've seen many times, mentioned a couple of times at least, the Rambam holds that tefillah is doraisa. What do you do with this gemorah? Gemorah says black and white. Tefillah is darbanan. That's why you're not mahar and tefillah. But first your Mishnah, we're not mahar and tefillah is darbanan. What are you going to say? It's like a bomb kasha. The Ramban holds as darbanan. He asks on the Rambam, what are you talking about? The Gemara says but first tefillah is darbanan. What are you going to do? So the Ramban answers for the Rambam, and he says, you know what might be pshat is that it could be our Mishnah is talking about where you already davened. You already davened, so therefore it's darbana. In other words, the Rambam holds you have to daven every day is doraisa. What the machlekes Ramban and Rambam is, Rambam says every day you have to daven is doraisa. Ramban says you only have to daven when based Torah. Something bad happens, you got to daven, right? So this Mishnah is talking about a case where he already davened. That's why it's darabanan. He says it should say. Ramban says, but that's not a good theory. The Mishnah should say, if he didn't daven, then he should daven. You know what's the? How are you going to understand that? So the Kesef Mishnah explains the Rambam, aka also known as the Beis Yosef. Kesef Mishnah says, in our Mishnah, right, he could say tefillah k'torah. He should say a short tefillah to be yetz to the dorais of davening. Say, please Hashem, give me parnasa, please Hashem, give me, health, happiness, whatever it is. And then he's mekayim the doraisa. Now he doesn't have to daven. He can be mekayim the doraisa, not by davening the whole Shemona Esra. You could just say tefillah k'torah. The Shaklis Arei asked, I don't understand, why would that be the case? By Birchas Hamazon, right? What's Doraisa? The first bracha is Doraisa. But he's got to say the whole thing. Once there's an Ikka Doraisa, you say the whole thing. Krishma, what's the Doraisa in Krishma? The first pasuk, Yitzis Mitzrayim. It doesn't say the two psukim and then you're done. Once you chayv the Doraisa, you say the whole thing. So why should tefillah be different? If the tefillah k'tzara, you have to daven a little bit to be mekayim the Doraisa, so just say the whole thing. What's the difference? So it's very dochak to say that this is tefillah's doraisa. It says gemorah, this is darabanan. Rakma, there is a teretz. The teretz is that the case we're talking about is a case of, read again the gemorah, second line of the gemorah. He was davening and then he realized it's about carry, meaning he started, so he was yaitza the doraisa already, because he started davening. Now he realizes he's tomei. So now it's only the Rabbanon. That's what the Gemara says. Oh, he's already davened. He's in the middle of davening. Now he's holding by the Rabbanons. That's what you could say in the Rambam. Okay, I had to throw that in there, even though it's a little bit off the page. All right. Says the Gemara. Okay. Amar Rav Yehuda. Says Rav Yehuda minayin lebirchas hamazon lachareya min haTorah. How do we know the benching? Whenever you bench, you ate, you benched. How do we know that that's doraisa? Shenema, it says v'chalta v'zavata v'rachta. I think it's a pasuk in the Chumash, right? V'chalta v'zavata. There you go. It's doraisa. So minay lebirchas haTorah. What about birchas haTorah? Lefanea min haTorah. How do you know that saying a bracha before you learn Torah is doraisa? Shenema says in the pasuk, Kishem Hashem ekra. When they say the name of Hashem, give greatness to Hashem. In other words, before Hashem was saying, Kishem Hashem, the whole Torah is the name of Hashem. Every word is the name of Hashem. So before I say the name of Hashem, give greatness to Hashem. Thank Hashem that He gave us the Torah. We should learn now Birchas HaTorah afterwards for Birchas Hamazon. we say Birchas Torah before you learn, before you study Torah, you say Birchas Torah. We should learn now Birchas Torah after you learn. When you close your sefer, you should say another bracha. Why? Just like when you eat, you say bracha afterwards. With Torah, you should say bracha afterwards. Mikal v'chayma. Birchas hamazon lefanea, and we should know Birchas hamazon lefanea mean Birchas Torah mikal v'chayma. And we should know you should have to say bracha before you eat for Birchas Torah. Just like Birchas Torah you say before you learn. So Birchas hamazon, you should have to make a bracha on food before you eat. Also midaraisa. Why? Birchas Torah lacharei min Birchas hamazon mikal v'chayma. What's the kal v'chayma? Uma mazon she'ein toy lefanea toy lacharei. Food, right? About to eat bread. You don't have to make a bracha beforehand, but you have to make a bracha afterwards. So you see that making bracha afterwards is more important than making a bracha before. Because food, midaraisa, you don't have to make a bracha before you eat, but you have to make a bracha afterwards. You ate, you should be like, I have to make a bracha now. So Torah, which demands a bracha beforehand, is called the chaymer, all the more so you should have to make a bracha afterwards. Again, if food, you don't have to make a bracha before, midaraisa. You have to make a bracha after. So Torah, you have to make a bracha before. All the more so you should have to make a bracha afterwards. And the other way around also. Birchas hamazon lefanea mean Birchas Torah mikal v'chayma. We should know Birchas hamazon beforehand from Torah mikal v'chayma. What's a kal v'chayma? Ma Torah she'ein tuna lacharei tuna lefanea. Torah, you don't have to make a bracha afterwards. You got to make a bracha beforehand. Mazon shutun lacharev, ein din shutun lefanav. Food where you have to make a bracha afterwards. All the more so you should have to make a bracha beforehand. The Gemara asks the obvious question. No, malam mazon shkeinena. You can't learn out from food because when you eat food, your body enjoys it. Your body thrives from it. And you can't learn out food from Torah because Torah is eternal satisfaction. Eternal happiness, eternal bliss. You can learn out from that to food. Food where you have 2 hours of satisfaction or 10 minutes of satisfaction, whatever it is. So you can't learn out one from the other. So the Gemara V'aid, Tanan, there's a Mishnah. Our Mishnah, aka our Mishnah. Ala mazayin mevarach la'achrav, ve'enim mevarach lefanav. It says in the Mishnah, with food you make a bracha afterwards, and you don't make a bracha beforehand. So you can't tell me that food beforehand is doraisa. Our Mishnah says you don't make a bracha. We're talking about hirur here. You make a bracha behirur, but still, with food you have to make a bracha afterwards, and not beforehand. So you see that with food, the kal v'chayma is not a good kal v'chayma. Tiyufta, shlogdav the kal v'chayma, there's no kal v'chayma. But Birchas Torah, l'chayra, is doraisa. That's what we learn from this Gemara. Kishem Hashem Ekra, Birchas Torah is doraisa. That's the mashmais of the Gemara. It does happen to be machlekes. Some Rishonim say Birchas Torah is darabanan. Even Bisman, some they say Birchas Torah is darabanan. Our Gemara seems to apply it. It is doraisa. Others say no. Maybe this is it's a smachta. It's not mamish a drosha Gemara. It's a smachta. The question is, the Achronim ask. The Gemara here seems to be trying to say that we should make a bracha after we learn Torah. The Chaim asks, when would you make this bracha? What's the Gemara's question? When should you make this bracha? So either it's, let's say you go to Beis Medrash, you learn, and then this is the Havamin in the Gemara. The Maskana, you don't make a bracha. No, you don't make a bracha when you finish learning. But the Havamin is when you finish learning, you're about to go to work, you're about to go to sleep, you close your gemorah and you say bracha. Say bracha afterwards. Thank you Hashem for giving us a Torah. Others say the whole shaila is about making a bracha b'tzibur. You go up to read the Torah, kriyas a Torah, you make a bracha afterwards. That's what he's trying to learn from here. That bracha you make b'tzibur, that's the doraisa. And that's a bracha we make after you read the Torah. You make a bracha afterwards. Al Tekach, the Levush says that the reason why we make 2 brachas of Birchas Torah in the morning is one is for the yesterday, is like a after bracha, and one is for what we're about to learn before. Now, you can't make a bracha. There's a problem. You can never finish. You can never say a bracha after you learn. Say, okay, I finished learning Torah. I'm making a bracha afterwards. Why? What's the problem? Because you always have to learn more Torah. You have to learn Torah the whole time. So you can't say, okay, I'm done with the Torah. Here's my bracha. I'm done. The Rashba says a different Torah. The Rashba says we never make a bracha after you did a mitzvah. You shake a lulav, you make a bracha before. There's never a bracha afterwards. You don't sit in the sukkah and then you make a bracha when you leave the sukkah. You make the bracha before you do the mitzvah. You make a bracha. You never make a bracha afterwards.
If you're eating bread,
that's not a mitzvah.
Then you're eating more bread. Then you're eating more bread. You don't make a bracha after the first bread. It could be.
That's brichas hanenin. We're talking about there's three types of brachas. There's brichas hanenin. Anytime you enjoy something, you have to make a bracha. There's brichas mitzvahs. Anytime you do a mitzvah, you make a bracha. And there's brichas shevach. You're just praising Hashem, you make a bracha, right? So we're here talking about specifically brichas mitzvahs. The Rashba says brichas mitzvahs. When you do a mitzvah, you make a bracha. Like you don't make a bracha when you do a ben al-chaveri, for example. I'm about to do chesed to someone, I don't say bracha Hashem. I'll mitzvah staka, and you give the guy staka. No, you give staka, you don't make a bracha on it. And there's reasons for it, right? You make the guy feel like an idiot, maybe. He might not take the money. And there's a bracha of Atala. You don't make a bracha. So you only make a bracha when you're doing a mitzvah, but Rashba says you only make a bracha beforehand. You never make a bracha after you do the mitzvah. The Rashba asks, but you do. We see you do. Where do you see you make a bracha after this? You say halal. Megillah. After you say Megillah. Those are the two things. You say halal, Megillah, we didn't say bracha after this. So it says the Rashba. So Rashi says those are takona darbanans. Takona darbanans, they said you make a bracha after. It's very good. But bracha daraisas, there's no such a thing. Takona darbanan, you make a bracha after. Why? I have no idea. Take a look. Give me a shot.
You always make a bracha after takona darbanan?
No, but sometimes they will sack him. You like Hanukkah candles. You don't make a bracha after you like Hanukkah candles. It's also takona, right? You make a bracha before. But sometimes they said you make a bracha afterwards. Halal, Megillah. Those are two examples I guess. Very good. Okay. Says the gemorah. Amar Yehuda. Okay. This is the gemorah, so the brisk is out there. Amar Yehuda. Safek kara kishma, safek loy kara. You don't know if you said krishma, you don't know if you didn't say krishma. You woke up, you're very bamboozled, you didn't take your meds today. Did I say krishma? Did I not say krishma? So what's the din? This gemorah is going to turn you all on your heads, so be prepared. What's it? What's it then? You don't say Krishma again. You're good. It's fine. Maybe you said it. You're done.
It's something deraisa.
Oh, we're going to see. Very good. Safek Oma Emes V'Yatziv. You're not sure if you said Emes V'Yatziv Nochav V'Kayim Til Ga'al Yisrael. Safek Loyama. You don't know if you said Chayzavoyim. Say it again. Why? Emes V'Yatziv my time. Why should you say Emes V'Yatziv again?
One second. Lo Amar Chazer.
Safek Oma Emes V'Yatziv Safek Lo Amar Chayzavoyim. Say it again.
One second.
Chayzavoyim Emes V'Yatziv. Say again Emes V'Yatziv. My timer, why should you not say Krishma, but you should say Emes V'Yatziv? My timer, because Krishma D'Rabbanan, Emes V'Yatziv D'Oraisa. You should be like, what? Krishma is D'Rabbanan? This shita holds Krishma is D'Rabbanan. But Emes V'Yatziv is D'Oraisa. Why would Krishma be D'Rabbanan? We have to stop here and explain. Why would Krishma be D'Oraisa? You've got a pasuk, B'Shachwa of Kamecha. What are you going to do with that? So that's talking about Talmud Torah. Or you have to say Krishma. There is some type of mitzvah Krishma D'Oraisa, but you can say any pasuk. Be Mekabel El Malchus Shemayim. Hashem, I'm accepting a yoke. Say Maidani. That you Mekayim D'Oraisa. D'Rabbanan. You have to say these three parshas. Obviously, there is a mitzvah in the morning and evening, either to learn Torah. You can say anything B'Shachwa or Kamecha. It says. The question is, what do you have to say? So this shita holds that Krishma is D'Rabbanan. Emes V'Yatziv is D'Oraisa. Why is Emes V'Yatziv D'Oraisa? Because of an Emes V'Yatziv, you got Yeshivs Mitzrayim D'Oraisa. Okay. So Mazav Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef asked, V'Shachwa of Kamecha. What are you going to do with the pasuk of V'Shachwa of Kamecha? You're telling me it's D'Rabbanan. It says in the Torah, when you wake up and you go to sleep, Amalei Abaye, Hahu b'divrei Torah ksiv. That pasuk is talking about divrei Torah. That you have to learn Torah in the morning and in the evening. Tanan says in the Mishnah, Balkari Mahar Belibai. What are you going to do with this? It says that Balkari learns Torah in his heart, right? He should say Krishma and believe, right? Krishma, not Torah. So you hear the question. The question is, why are you busy telling me it's the Rabbanon? So why would the Balkari? We just had a gemorah that said the reason why the Balkari says Krishma is Daraisa. So if you just told me it's the Rabbanon, so why would the Balkari say Krishma but the Balpeh? Well, what happened? Why is this Balkari busy saying about Peh? It's Darbonin, don't say it. If you're going to tell me that Emes V'Yatziv is Doraisa, you think Emes V'Yatziv is Doraisa? So Levarach Lacharel. Why shouldn't he make a bracha then? Ma'ita Mevarach. So why does he make a bracha? Imeshim Yitzis Mitzrayim. Why does he say it? Why are you saying a bracha? Why should he say Emes V'Yatziv? If it's because of Yitzis Mitzrayim, Ha'ed Kelei B'Krishma. In Krishma he said, what do you say in Krishma? You say in the last chapter, Yitzis Mitzrayim, right? We mentioned Yitzis Mitzrayim. So v'nei maha v'lei baiha. So Gemara asks, the Gemara is saying, you know what? You should say Emes V'Yatziv and don't say Krishma. That's Gemara's kasha. This guy is a Balkari. He doesn't know what if he said Krishma or not. So just say Emes V'Yatziv.
It actually makes sense.
And now just say Emes V'Yatziv. You hit all you also got your Emes V'Yatziv, and you also said Krishma, and you also got Yitzis Mitzrayim. Sorry. So Gemara answers no. Krishma is adif adis betati. You're better off saying Krishma than Emes V'Yatziv because there's two things. There's two things in Krishma. What are the two things? You got Yitzis Mitzrayim, and says Rashi, Yispetati Yitzis Mitzrayim umach shemayim. So when you say Krishma, you've also got umach shemayim, and you've also got Yitzis Mitzrayim. That's why if this guy's Sophic, what should he do? He should say Krishma. You got both Yitzis Mitzrayim and umach shemayim. If you just said Emes V'Yatziv, you only got Yitzis Mitzrayim. You didn't got umach shemayim. So the place can say it's such a pasha terror. It's like, what was the whole Gemara's kasha? Well, the Gemara's kasha, you should say Emes V'Yatziv. What's the harm when you say Emes V'Yatziv? The answer is, since this guy, we know this guy is mesupik if he said Krishma, right? Or Emes V'Yatziv. So he's better off saying Emes V'Yatziv, meaning if he said Krishma, then he got both. He got Shema and Emes V'Yatziv. That's like Lechatchila. There's at least a 50% chance that he gets both. If he just says Krishma, then he for sure blew Emes V'Yatziv. So you're right, Krishma is both. But on the side that he did say Krishma, he could have got like, a hat trick. He could have got Krishma and Emes V'Yatziv in. So maybe you should say Emes V'Yatziv. The one says, no, you're better off making sure you say Krishma, El Mach Shemayim, and Yitzis Mitzrayim than just Emes V'Yatziv, yeah?
But it's not like a bracha levatala. Like normally we have a suffix. We don't want to say a bracha a second time because it's going to be a bracha levatala, something like that.
Just say the whole thing again.
No bracha.
But here there's no downside because you can just, it's Torah. It's just say, you could say Kriya Shema 20 times a day because it's learning Torah, no?
Well, it seems to be that this guy is a Keri and he's not allowed to learn Torah. The Gemara here is going before they were Mevatel Takana. But Ezra's Mesakin, Baal Keri can't say Kriya Shema. Baal Keri can't learn Torah. He's not allowed to learn Torah. He's allowed to say Kriya Shema though. He's Mechuyev Midrash to say Kriya Shema. But Baal Keri is allowed to learn Torah. Takana says Ezra, you got to go to the mikvah to learn Torah. Some Chassidim nowadays are makbid to go to the mikvah, even Bizman Hazeh, even though they were Mevatel. But Ezra's Mesakin, you got to go to the mikvah. Rakma, so how are you saying Kriya Shema? If it's Talmud Torah, so some places say you've got to think, be Mechavan to not be Mekayim Mitzvahs Talmud Torah, or he wasn't Geyser, he wasn't Oike Mitzvahs Kriya Shema, right?
Well, 1 second, maybe it goes back to the thing where we discussed at length saying Echad 15 times because you didn't say the Chas of the Daled right. Maybe it goes back to the same thing, like there's one, if you say Shema over again,
that's already Talmud Torah. As long as he's saying it for Kriya Shema and not for Talmud Torah, he doesn't want to do Talmud Torah, then it's okay. But I don't think there's a problem here because here we're talking about in your head. I don't think in your head you can say Echad 15 times. Now the whole problem is saying Echad, 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 Echad. But in your head you can say it as much as you want because it's in your head. No one sees, no one hears. You're not supposed to look like a Picarius. Like there's two powers out there. But in your head you can say as much as you want. There's no Gzeir not say Echad, Echad in your head. But then if it helps, just do one long echad in your head. Once you're in your head, you can just you can do it as long as you want. In your head, it works as long as you want. You can drag out the dollar in your mind. There's no limit. But it's a good kasha. So it says the Gemara, Rebelez Hoimer, Sofik Kar Krishma, Sofik Loy Kara. We don't know if he said Krishma. We don't know if he doesn't know if he said. He doesn't know if he didn't say. Chayzer v'kayrei, should say it again. Chayzer v'kayrei Krishma. Sofik Ispal, Sofik Lo Ispal. If he's Rabbi Elazar's chalik. Sofik is Sofik Leisbal. He doesn't know if he davened. Ein chayzer mispalal. You don't daven again. Again, if you're not sure if you say Krishma, Doraisa, say it again.
Talking about a carry here still, right?
No, anyone, any suffix. Now we left the Balkari. Any suffix. You're not sure if you say Krishma, is Doraisa, say it again. Suffix is spal, suffix aim is spalal. If he's not sure if he davened, what should you do? Wait, did I daven Shemana Esrei? Did I not daven? You're not sure. Happened to me. I come to Mincha. I'm like, wait, did I daven at 1 o'clock? I can't remember. Wait, was that yesterday I davened? I have no idea. And you've got like 3 seconds to decide because it's the end of the Zman. Did I daven? What should I do? Suffix spell, suffix aim is spell. Ein chayzer spell. Don't daven again. First white line here. Rabbi Yochanan gives Rabbi Yochanan Olavai Shispal Adam Kol Hayom Kulei. Oh, how great it would be if people would daven the whole day. If you suffix, if you daven again. You know, keep davening, keep going. The best thing is to pray all day. That's what Rabbi Yochanan says.
That sounds off to me.
We're going to see.
Not to argue with Rabbi Yochanan, but you know.
So take a look in Taisvus. Rabbi Yochanan, bottom Taisvus. Rabbi Yochanan v'Lavai Shispal Adam Kol Hayom. A person should daven the whole day. Does that mean the person should daven Shemana Esrei, keep going, just daven again, daven again, daven again? So Taisvus Eimari the halacha Rabbi Yochanan. We pass like Rabbi Yochanan. The dafka besofik ispalal. We pass like Rabbi Yochanan. You should daven again if you're besofik if you davened. Aval vada ispal. If you're sure you did daven already, like we don't pass like Rabbi Yochanan. You can't daven again. Okay, that's a Taisus Paskins. In other words, when do you pass like Rabbi Yochanan, you can daven again? That's if you're besofik if you daven, then we say, we pass like Rabbi Yochanan, you could daven again. Even though it's darbanan, you're not sure if you daven, pray again, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you're sure you davened already, you just want to daven again, no, you can't daven again. So it says the Gemara, keep going the Gemara. He's in the middle of davening. Guy's praying. And then you remember you daven. This happens to me also once in a while. I'm davening mincha, and I'm like, I already daven mincha. I'm such an idiot. I already daven mincha. I'm doing it again. Paisik, you should stop. You stop even in the middle of a bracha, stop. You say, I already daven, stop. Eini, is this true? Reb Nachman says, Kavina be Rabba Ba'avua. When we were standing by Rabba Ba'avua, we asked him, Hani b'nei beirav, the kids, the toe, they make a mistake. Omitka the chol b'Shabbos, and they we're davening on Shabbos, and they start saying Atachayin L'Adam Das on Shabbos. They're saying the wrong tefillah. So what should the guy do?
You're supposed to finish.
Oh, Mao. So they asked him, what should you do? Sheyigru v'amalan. Should they finish amalan? Gaimin kalaisa bracha. You should finish the bracha. So why on Shabbos should you finish the bracha? But he said that the weekday, if you remembered you already daven, you should stop right then and there. So he answers, Hachi Hashta. Here now, what's the comparison? Some on Shabbos is Gavar B'Chayuva. On Shabbos you really chayv to daven the whole 18 brachas. V'Rabbanan hu d'lai techu mishum kavod Shabbos. The Chazal said you don't have to daven kavod Shabbos. It's too much of a tircha for you. You want to go home, meet with the family, spend time with the kids. We're not going to make you say the whole Shemona Esrei. It's too long. It's too painful. It's a tircha on Shabbos. Einik Shabbos, you don't have to daven. But really, you chayv to daven. So if you started saying the bracha, finish the bracha. You chayv to do it. Hasam, but there, gaver b'chiyuvu. For a banu dalatruchu. Sorry, avahacha behe hatzalile. He's not a b'chiyuvu. He's already davened. If a guy's already davened, how can he daven again? He's not a b'chiyuvu anymore. He's davened. Why should he daven again? So on Shabbos, really, he's chayv to daven. Just he said, Chazal said, we'll give you a free pass. But if a guy already daven, so there's no chiyuv for him to daven anymore. That's it. He's part of why should he finish the bracha? And Rabbi Yehuda Mishmuel says, a guy's davening. He's already davened. He's done. He's yotzer. He goes in to get a sefer. He goes in to find his talis. And he sees, you know what? The davening Shemona Esrei. What should he do? If he can pray and add something into his prayer, you know what? Get me a new car. You add something in. It doesn't say in the tefillah. You got to add something.
But he done
If you can't add anything new, don't pray. Don't daven. If you can add something new, you can finish praying. So what's he saying? In other words, if you've already davened, if you've already prayed, you can't pray again. But if you can add a new supplication, if you can add something new to your tefillah, so you can go ahead and pray. So this guy, so back to our original case, this guy is davening, right? And then he realizes, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot, I already davened mincha, right? So what should he do? I think the place can say, if you can add something to this prayer now, right? He's saying, he says, please Hashem, let me also understand the sugya that we're learning today in Amud Yomi. You add that in, now you can finish your prayer. In other words, you can't, if you're not going to add anything, it's a bracha levatala. You're not allowed to finish davening. You've davened, you're not allowed to daven anymore. Reb Chaim says, yeah, you could daven again, just keep davening. You can do 10 shmoneh a day, right? You're saying it's not recommended. Reb Chaim says, halavai shispal kol hayom. Daven the whole day. We paskin that if you're adding something to the tefillah, then you can daven again. So if you're not,
I would suspect that Rabbi Chaim is not talking about davening shmoneh 7 times.
no, that's what he's talking about. You can halavai shispal kol hayom.
Halavai that he used to say, tell him he used to talk that thing.
That's for sure, but no, halavai shispal kol hayom. He's saying halach l'maisa, meaning this is what Reb Chaim is saying. You're not sure if you davened.
Yeah.
What should you do? Daven again. Halavai shispal kol hayom. Keep davening. There's nothing wrong with davening again. Chazal never said don't daven again. They said you have to daven once. They didn't put a maximum. They put a minimum. The minimum is once. They never said only once. They said halavai. Says Reb Chaim, as far as I'm concerned, daven shmoneh should say again. You're waiting there for the tzibur to finish the chazal Shas. Do another shmoneh. Why are you standing there waiting around doing nothing? Daven again. Even Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel says you've davened. You've davened mincha. You come to shul. I don't know if anyone does this. There's a little letter, it means it's halacha l'maisa. You've davened already mincha. You come to shul, they're davening mincha. What should you do? Daven again. If you can add something. If you can't add something, then daven again. I think the places say nowadays you shouldn't daven because you're not mechavan anyway, and it's, you have to, right? Maybe it's bracha levatalas if you're not mechavan, there's conditions. But be'ikra din, you should daven again. If you can add something, you should daven again. Okay, we're going to end over here, the end of the page. Wow. Have a wonderful day. Shkoyach. Allah, shispal kol hayom.